heard of that song, It's Now or Never? Well, join me at the table as we discover, are you in the now or are you in the never? Here in Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. The Passion Translation says, now faith brings our hopes into reality and becomes the foundation needed to acquire the things we long for. The Amplified Classic says, now faith is the assurance, the confirmation, the title deed of the things we hoped for, being the proof of things we do not see in the conviction of their reality. Faith perceiving as real fact what is revealed to the senses. I want to ask you, are you being in the now? Here we read that faith is now. Are you living by faith now? Or are you hoping or wishing that faith will happen for you, that your faith would work, or that you can get things from God? Has God asked you to do something? And you're like, well, I got to do this first and this first and this first. You know, there's a story here in the Bible that tells us that these people were invited to a party. And one of them says, I can't go. I got to go take care of my father. You know, my dad's dead. I got to go take care of him. Then another one got some ox. I got to go test these things out. I can't go to your party. Another one says, I just got married. I can't come. Here it is, they're invited to a party and they keep saying, I can't come. It's never going to happen for them. The Bible also mentions if you always wait for the perfect time, you're not going to do it. I know that myself and my husband over the last month, we have really been praying and seeking God on a different level for our lives in 2024. And one thing that we kept hearing, you got to do it now. God is telling you something. God's asking of you something. And he's saying, you've either got to do it now or you're never going to do it. You know, by faith, we stepped out to move from Oklahoma to Kentucky. We could have sat in Oklahoma and said, well, we've got to wait till someone over there has a church for us. We got to wait till someone knows who we are. We got to wait for this. We got to wait for that. When we had the peace and release that it was time to go, we packed up and we went. That was a now moment. We can't just sit around waiting for God to do something He's asking us to do. And I want you guys to think about this. Now faith is. It's now. Now means the present time, in the moment. You're wondering, when is things going to happen for me? Well, when are you going to do what God told you to do? When am I going to get blessed? Well, maybe you have to be used as a blessing first before you get that blessing you've been wanting. I know, in the natural, even when we had Kent, we kind of were like, okay, are we ready to have a family? Are we ready to start a family? Oh, it would be nice to have this and this and this. And everyone always said, if you are going to wait around to find the right perfect moment to have a child, you're not going to do it because there's never going to be a right perfect moment. I can't go out to minister to the Lord until someone lays hands on me and calls me to the ministry. Or I can't go talk to this person until they talk to me first. Or maybe I can't have a blessing that God wants for me because it's just not ever going to happen. But it will happen. It can happen. You see, we keep putting things off on other people. Well, God's got to do it because God says, yes, maybe, no, wait a while. We keep making excuses of why things aren't happening in our lives. God is saying it's now. God, do you want me well? Yes, I want you well now. God, do you want me blessed? Yes, I want you blessed now. Now faith is. Now. You know, when I was thinking about this, when the Lord brought the title of the song Now or Never, you know, my son likes listening to Elvis and that song was going off. And I was thinking as people were talking about now, it's now. Get up and do it now. Think of the story of Moses. Or excuse me, Abram, what did he say? Get up, move from a land I'm going to show you. Well, he wasn't told where to go, right? But he got up and went. What if he would have said, well, I got to sit here and wait until I know the land. Oh, if I just have a dream, he'll show it to me. No, he got up and went. I think of the story of Esther. Her uncle Mordecai said, hey, they're going to destroy our people. I need you to go into the king's presence. And she said, Mordecai, do you not know that there's a law that if I go in front of the king's presence that I could be killed? And he goes, but for such a time as this, what was it? Now is the time. Now is the moment that you need to go before the king. And at Mordecai's words, she went in to the presence of the king, and the king did not kill her. She said, I want to give you, and Haman, I want to invite you to a dinner. And then she revealed what was happening, and the king granted her what she wanted. I can't go to college until I get a loan. Maybe something like that you're thinking of. What is it you're saying? I can't do this because of this. Why can't you do it? Why? Is there something burning within you that God has told you to do? And you're saying, well, I can't do that, God. I'm not talented enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not educated enough. I don't have the skills. This table talk started 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, when God said, Whitney, I want you to start doing Facebook Live. And I would get on and do Facebook Live with my 3-year-old in the background, popping up and doing different things. But I did what God told me to do. And here it's turned into a bigger thing. And even now, God has told me things to do. And I'm like, okay, I write it down and I start it now. I could look at what he's asked me to do and say, well, I'll have to wait. No, I start now. And it's something he's told me, and realizing this now is to be ready. The Bible tells us to be ready in season and out of season. So I want to challenge you. Look at your life. Think to yourself, ask yourself, if you think that God has told you something, God, can you say that again? I'm ready to move on it. Because faith is now. It's doing something. Because if we don't do something now, it's never going to be accomplished. If we don't pray for our state, our government, our families, who else is going to pray? If we want to see a change in the world, we'll never see it if we first don't do something ourselves. I can't change my husband, but I can start with myself. And the change that's in me, he can see and it will be changed. But I can't say, well, I have to wait. I can't change until he changes. No, it's now. So I want you this week to get at least just 5 minutes to yourself. 5 minutes is all I'm asking. And really think about this. Am I being a now person that when God tells me to do something, I'm acting now? Or am I making excuses so that I can't do it and it never will happen? God is in the now. Faith is now. So I say this song to you.